Good morning, everybody. This is Robert People, and you are listening to People's Court. Thank you for tuning in. Today is Wednesday, July 29th, 2020. I'm going to start this podcast with this here. Actually, two scenarios I want to give you real quick. Let's say you were not skilled on using a fire extinguisher. Okay, a small fire extinguisher. Let's say you just did not know how to use one. So you go to your local fire department. You ask them to give you some quick training on basically just how to use it, the steps, how to discharge it, whatever, everything, and basically everything you need to know to operate one. Okay, and you come back and they teach you everything you need to know. Now, let's say later on, whenever down the road, your house catches on fire. Okay, house catches on fire. Not a section of the house, but the whole thing. Would you, A, use that small fire extinguisher to put the fire out? Or would you, B, call the fire department? Think about that for a second. Now I'm going to give you another one. Let's say you have a child, a baby, mother or father. You know, you're a mother or father, rather. You know that this child is starving. The child's very hungry. You also have always said that you want to learn how to cook. You're not a good cook. You want to learn. Okay? Now, with this starving child, you have the means to feed them immediately. You have items in your kitchen to where you could feed this child right away, immediately, so the child won't be starving anymore. Would you, A, feed the child what you have in your kitchen, or would you, B, spend that time while that child is starving and crying, learning how to cook before you fed that child? Think about that for a second also. These days, when people talk about, and I want to be careful with how I'm addressing this, but these days politics is more divided, more abrasive than ever that I can remember. I'm 41, so those of you who are older, you can take it back further and you can think about how things were even, 60s and 70s, how politics were compared to how they are today. Well, anyway, we know the standard two parties, Republican and Democrat. We also have independent voters. Now, a lot of people are voting independent. A lot of people are saying that that's where you will go. Now, far be it from me to attempt to tell someone who you can and can't vote for or what political party you should be a part of. However, voting independent at this time, at this particular time, this is a unique time in our history, to say the least. Voting independent now, not to say that you're not allowed to think that way, but voting independent now really won't do much to change the situation we are currently in. Unfortunately, this is not a judgment for those who want to vote independent. I hope y'all don't misunderstand that part. But unfortunately, we are at a place in our history where we have a unique circumstance, a dire, I feel, emergency. And just as in the examples I gave, the scenarios I gave in the beginning of this, action needs to be taken now. Right now. That's not to say that independent is bad. Just like in the scenarios I gave, wanting to use the fire extinguisher to put fires out is not bad, but you have a dire emergency. You need something immediate. It's not saying wanting to learn how to cook for your child is bad, but you have a circumstance, the child is starving, they need to eat now. There's no time for you to learn how to cook before you feed them while they are starving. This country is on fire, big time. Voting independent is like trying to use that small fire extinguisher to put that fire out, that a fire department needs to put out. This country is a starving child. Voting independent is saying, I'm going to learn how to cook while that child is starving. There's no time for that at the moment. We're not talking about having a president in office right now who simply is on a different page as far as economics goes, as far as foreign policy goes. We're talking about someone who is racist, who is sexist, who lies at faster than he breathes in a lot of cases, gets caught in a lie many different ways, continues the lie after getting caught in it. He, the other day, not sure if it was yesterday or the day before, civil rights, the late civil rights activist and congressman John Lewis. Obviously, we know he passed away last week. And on the day of the I want to say the viewing, or the day that his body was brought to Lyon State, Joe Biden attended. And a few hours later, Donald Trump is on Twitter and he's complaining about, what was it? Something on Twitter about the trends. He said something about the trends. Any trend that includes him is usually something negative. And so I think he mentioned illegal in there too. I didn't want to look it up. I didn't want to give it that much attention. But that's where his mind is. When we lost someone who means to civil rights what John Lewis has meant. This is the type of person we have here. This is also someone who, when riots, when protests from white supremacists, known white supremacists, are taking place, this is the person who says that they are fine people. This is the same person who said that when folks are exercising their First Amendment rights, we're talking professional athletes now, he's the one who says that these quote-unquote sons of bitches need to be fired. Get those sons of bitches off the field. I'm sorry, that was the exact quote. But of course, when you're taking someone off the field, you're taking away their livelihood, meaning that they should be fired. This is who's in office. This is who the president of the United States is. This is an emergency. 100 as of now, about 150,000 Americans have died due to COVID-19. He does not seem to have much to say about that. In fact, he just recently began wearing a mask after pretty much denying this thing the whole time. People are dying of all ages. It's not even important to mention who dies more and who's this and that. 150,000 people and counting. Cases all over the place. And he is not taking this seriously. This is a pandemic we're talking about, and he's not taking it seriously. We have an emergency. Voting independent, as noble as it is that you're just not picking one side, we are unfortunately in a place where we have to choose what's going to put this fire out. And right now, independent is not it. Right now, it's not it. This does not mean again, I'm going to repeat this part because people seem to want to miss this. It's not saying you are wrong to want to vote independent. But at this time, I explained before what that equates to. I don't have the numbers in front of me as far as how well independent candidates have done as far as running for president, how close they've made it, or when the last independent won, or whatever the case. But at this moment, I don't believe, just for what I'm seeing, just from where I'm sitting, I don't believe we're in a place where an independent has an honest chance of winning. Not this time, not now. These are dire circumstances we're in. These are dire circumstances, and action needs to be taken now. I saw something. I can't recall exactly how it's worded, but I'm going to paraphrase as best as I can. Something that went around. Joe Biden obviously is not perfect. This is not it. I'm going to say this first before I say what I saw. Joe Biden's not perfect. He has his problems, his issues, his things that people are going to be uncomfortable with. But this is what I saw. This person said, waiting for the perfect candidate, political candidate, is like waiting for a bus to get somewhere. You're not looking for the perfect bus. You're not going to look the bus up and down and make sure every aspect of it is in the best 100% condition, or what have you. There's going to be problems. There are going to be issues with that bus that's going to make you less than comfortable. But what you're looking for is, you're not looking for perfect to get you from point A to point B. You're looking for for a vehicle that's capable of getting you from point A to point B. And for those of us who have had to ride buses in our lifetimes, when you catch that bus, do you study that bus before you get on? When you get on the bus, have you ever looked and decided to get off? With the exception of the times where there are no seats, and even in those cases, you still just stood up. But have you ever just left because you said, man, you know what? This bus has graffiti on it. I'm leaving. Or, oh, man, there's certain types of people on this bus. I'm not going to come. Or I don't like the driver and all this. No. Most of the time, you just said, look, I'm just trying to get from here to here. That's it. Where we are now is that we're just trying to get from point A to point B. Point A to point B means Trump getting out of office. That's it. If Joe Biden is the bus that helps us get there, then so be it. That doesn't mean he's going to be perfect from top to bottom, but right now we're not going to have a perfect candidate, because at this point we spend so much time trying to find fault in people anyway. There's not going to be perfect. We can't handle perfect. If someone perfect was there, we would not be able to handle it, because we would be spending our time trying to find, oh, there's nothing wrong with this person. Oh, well, let's just keep looking. Let's just keep digging. Oh, they must be hiding something. Then, of course, we got to just make fun of how they look, As the mature adults we are, we got to do it that way. Now, as far as independent goes, in the riding on a bus example, independent would be saying, you know what? I'm not going to take that bus. I'm just going to walk. That would be independent, as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you don't like the example, then you can make your own example up. But this is the way I see it. I'm just telling you from where I'm sitting. You could always walk. Will you get to your destination? You might. But you also might be late getting there. You may be tired getting there. You might not be able to make it there. You may suffer an injury as you are walking this long distance to get there. It's not, and again, I go back to what I've been saying about independent. It's not, in this bus example, it's not bad that you would want to walk to your destination. It's not bad that you want to find your own means of getting there. But when you have a bus there that, minus some imperfections, aside from these imperfections, will get you to your destination in a timely manner so that you aren't late, so that you conserve energy, so that you can make it from point A to point B, that is what you want to use. And right now, independent is not going to cut it. It really isn't. And truly, sometimes I believe independent is what some people use when they don't really care for Trump, but what he's done is not deal breakers for them. Let me say that again. Everyone is not owning their support of Donald Trump, but they still support him. And I believe independent gives them an opportunity to not only take a jab at both sides of the aisle, but also so that they can continue supporting him without making it 100% clear that they do. Or again, because of the things he's done not being a deal breaker for them. Making fun of the disabled reporter, calling these countries of people of color, quote unquote, shithole countries, calling female Americans filthy, disgusting names. These things are not deal breakers to people who are independent. Because if they were deal breakers, they would not be independent. They'd say, wait a minute, independent can come later. We got to get him out now. So as usual, go ahead and comment, jump in here, comment, let me know what you think of what I just stated. Independent, voting independent is like all of what I just described. This is Robert People. This is Robert People, and you are listening to People's Court. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hope everybody is doing well and hanging in there. We will get through this pandemic. We will get through it. We'll make it. You all take care. Be good. I'll see you again on Friday.